This lesson is going to introduce you to the Latin noun system. The two main parts of speech in Latin are nouns and verbs. Nouns, if you remember from grade school, are words that represent persons, places, things, and ideas. So woman, man, dog, cat, freedom, those are all nouns. Now in English, our noun system depends on word placement. So in the sentence, the woman gives the man flowers, woman is first, we know she's the subject of the sentence, she's doing the action. And if we change that woman to man, the man gives flowers to the woman, we know that the man is doing the action. But in Latin, it's a little different. Latin may at first blush seem a little more complicated, although I think in some ways it is more clear. And the idea here, always to keep in mind, is that the ending determines function. That is, the ending, the last bit of the noun, is going to tell us what it's doing in a sentence. So, for example, so remember this, ending determines function. In the sentence, femina rosas puellae viro dat, you'll notice that the last chunk of each of these nouns is different. This is actually a different type of word, but it's a different case too. So those endings, what we call each of those endings represents a different case, and each of those cases is a different function. So femina rosas puellae viro dat, the woman gives the roses of the girl to the man. So each of those is a different case. So I'm going to go through the five, well, there are actually 6 cases, 5 major ones and then one slightly less commonly used. Go through those here and then show you some of the upshots of this. So the first case is the nominative. That's femina here. So it represents the subject. It is the doer of the action, right? It is the focus of the sentence. So the subject, the nominative is the subject. The genitive, in this case our puellae, represents possession. And we can translate this usually as of blank, where the blank is the noun. So of you have to supply, so the roses of the girl, or we might use our apostrophe. So the girls, apostrophe s. So we've got the nominative, the genitive. The third case, the dative, can do a number of things, but the basic use is what we have, the viro here. It is the person that benefits from this action. So we sometimes call this the indirect object. If you remember from your English grammar. So the woman gives roses of the girl to the man. And sometimes you can translate this as to or for. The fourth case, the accusative, is our direct object. It is the thing directly affected by the verb. So the woman gives the roses. Roses here is the accusative. It's receiving the action. The fifth main case, so here are the 5 main cases, nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, and ablative. The ablative can do a number of things, and I don't have it represented here, but it often shows up in different prepositional phrases. And as you progress through Latin, you're going to find a number of different ways the ablative can be used in a sentence. It may at times frustrate you, but really what it does, it is going to oftentimes show you some aspect of the verb. It's almost adverbial in some cases, so we could have said in villa, and a long a is the ablative ending, is one of the ablative endings. So in the house, in the villa. So the woman in the villa gives roses to the man. So it's a number of different uses. The 6th case, which is a minor one, but still useful to know, is the vocative. And this is going to be the noun of address. It is oftentimes identical, although not always, to the nominative. That's why a lot of times people will leave it out. But if you want to call somebody, so if I were to say, Mom, I'm going out. This mom here, she's not the subject, she's not doing the action. She's being addressed, she's being called. This would be in the vocative. Now, the upshot of this is that our basic sentence, Femina rosas puellae viro dat, remember that form determines that the ending determines function, so we can move this sentence around depending on what we want to emphasize. So we could emphasize rosas puellae, the roses of the girl. So the roses of the girl to the man the woman gives. This is still the same sentence. It means the same thing. Technically it's not the same sentence, but it means the same thing. The woman gives the roses of the girl to the man, but now we've put an emphasis on rosas, the roses. Or here we could sort of give a secondary emphasis to viro. We could move the dative, the indirect object, to the end. So the woman gives the roses of the girl to the man. Right? And we could have switched femina and viro if we wanted. It's still going to be the same sentence. All of these are synonymous in meaning, just not in emphasis. Or femina viro dat rosas puellae. Right? The woman to the man gives the roses of the girl. The only thing in terms of words, a word order in Latin is fairly free because the case endings determine their function. The only thing I would say that is not going to be that strange or that flexible is a genitive, as puellae here, the roses of the girl, will oftentimes go very close to, either in front of or after the noun. Technically that is modifying, that is possessing. So the roses of the girl's roses. And the other is that generally a Latin sentence will have its subject first and put its verb at the end. But it doesn't have to, right? Because the case ending tells you what is the subject. So memorize those case names as you're memorizing different paradigms, different patterns that nouns take. You're going to want to know those case names so that you can determine what their functions are.